ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਸੋਰਠ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ। ਤੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਦਾਤਾ ਦਾਨ ਮਤ ਪੂਰਾ, ਹਮ ਥਾਰੇ ਭੇਖਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਆ ਮੰਗੋ ਕਿਛ ਥਿਰ ਨਾ ਰਹਾਈ, ਹਰ ਦੀਜੈ ਨਾਮ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਘਟ ਘਟ ਰਵ ਰਿਹਾ ਬਨਵਾਰੀ, ਜਲ ਥਲ ਮਹੀਅਲ ਗੁਪਤੋ ਵਰਤੈ। ਗੁਰ ਸ਼ਬਦੀ ਦੇਖ ਨਿਹਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ ਰਹਾਉ। ਮਰਤ ਪਿਆਲ ਆਕਾਸ਼ ਦਿਖਾਇਓ, ਗੁਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਧਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਸੋ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਅਜੋਨੀ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਹੋਨੀ, ਘਟ ਭੀਤਰ ਦੇਖ ਮੁਰਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਕੋਇ ਜਗ ਬਪੜੋ, ਇਨ ਦੂਜੈ ਭਗਤ ਵਿਸਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਮਿਲੈ ਤਾ ਗੁਰਮਤਿ ਪਾਈਐ, ਸਾਕਤ ਬਾਜੀ ਹਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਬੰਧਨ ਤੋੜ ਨਿਰਾਰੇ, ਬਹੁੜ ਨਾ ਗਰਭ ਮਝਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਨਾਨਕ ਗਿਆਨ ਰਤਨ ਪ੍ਰਗਾਸਿਆ, ਹਰ ਮਨ ਵਸਿਆ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਬੰਧਨ ਤੋੜ ਨਿਰਾਰੇ, ਬਹੁੜ ਨਾ ਗਰਭ ਮਝਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਨਾਨਕ ਗਿਆਨ ਰਤਨ ਪ੍ਰਗਾਸਿਆ, ਹਰ ਮਨ ਵਸਿਆ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰੀ ਜੀਓ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, today's ਪਾਵਨ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ from Sachkhand Sri Harmandir Sahib is on Ang 597. And Sangat ji, this Hukamnaama Sahib has been blessed to us by Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Paatshah in Sorat'h Rag. In this Shabad, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji today is saying to us, Tu Prabh Data. Hey Vaheguru Ji is speaking to Vaheguru, speaking to God and saying, Tu Prabh Data, you are the giver. But they add something to that. Often Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, our Gurbani, many of times refers to Vaheguru Ji and says to Vaheguru Ji, you are the giver. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji here has added something. They're saying, Tu Prabh Data Daan Mat Pura. But the daan, but the gifts that you give, in which way, in how do you actually give out the gifts? Mat Pura. Sangat Ji, Mat Pura means, Mat literally translates to somebody's wisdom. Pura means complete. If we translate that literally, that will translate to with complete wisdom. What that's actually saying to us is that yes, you are the giver. Daan mat pura. But all the gifts that you have given us are complete. The way you have designed this creation, it's not incomplete. You haven't left anything out. Jo kich paya so ekavar. We all read in Sri Jap Sahib Bani, Jo Kich Paya, wherever you have put into this creation. So ekavar, you put it all in one go. Meaning that you've not left anything behind. You've not had to go off and then redesign anything. This world is based off this world, this earth. It's made with the 5 elements. Everything comes from those elements. This body is a makeup of those 5 elements. Those 5 elements, Sangaji, being space or ether, some call it. And we've got air, we've got the earth, we've got fire, we've got the water. It's saying Daan Mat Pura. And then Satguru Ji Patsha Ji, they say that Ham Thare Pekhari Jiyo, that we are all your beggars. Singh Ji, we beg before that one. But then Guru Nanak Dev Ji Patsha saying, Main kya mango, kich thir na rahai. What am I meant to beg for? What do I actually ask for? What should my prayer be? Main kya mango, kich thir na rahai. But all of this that you have made, this matter that we see, all of that, this creation, it is all thir na rahai. None of it is stable. None of it is going to remain. None of this is permanent. So what do I actually ask for that is permanent? If I ask for anything within this world, it's not going to remain and it's not permanent. Sangatji, but looking into this deeper, then Patsha Ji say to us, just finish off that, let's finish off the Pankti before we actually go into it. Then they say, Har Dija, and this is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji then beg for. This is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Patsha Ji's prayer. This is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying for us to embrace. They're saying, Har Dija, oh Vaheguru Ji, give us this. Naam Pyari Jiyo. Naam. Give me that connection to you. Give me that connection to the one that is behind the gifts. These are the data, these are the gifts, but who is the data? But let me connect with your name, the one that is the giver. Sangatji, if we look deeper into this, the truth is that we end up asking for worldly possessions. All of these worldly possessions, Sangatji, are not here to remain, are all impermanent. But looking deeper into that, all of these possessions from this world already sit within this world, meaning that Vaheguru Ji has done everything perfectly, has done everything in a complete way. Meaning that those things that we ask for, koi ann mangdaya, somebody might be asking for grain, meaning food. But Patsha Ji has made everything perfect and complete, meaning that tarti, the earth has already been given to us. The soil has already been provided to us. And it's then down to us to be able to then utilize that soil and grow food and take food from that so that we can eat and nourish this body. But we call Vaheguru Ji the nourisher as well. We call Vaheguru Ji the one that nurtures us as well, because if it wasn't for Vaheguru Ji that has created and designed the soil to have that ability to give us food, for that soil to be such that when there's a seed planted in that soil and it's given the right environment and everything is done in the way for that soil to provide us with a tree that gives us then fruits, those fruits for us then to consume, to eat. You, Vaheguru Ji, is Daan Mat Pura, is complete in the way, in the gifts that you have given. You have given us everything that we need within this earth, within this world. And if the environment is correct, if that seed has gone into that earth the way it's meant to go in for it to grow, and then for it to get the water, for it to get the sunlight. But you are the complete one. You are the one that has provided the water too. You are the one that has provided the sunlight too. So you've given us all the gifts that we need to survive. Sangat ji, but then we go and then hum pe khari, hum thare pe khari jiyo. But then we end up begging you for such things that actually may bring us to ruins. We might be asking for greater comforts. We might be asking for that we haven't got this type of food, that we'd like to have this type of food. We haven't got this type of house, we'd like this type of house. But Sangat ji, those things that we all ask for, are then that comes down to that Vaheguru Ji has blessed us with those gifts already, but then it's how we utilize those. Sangat ji, we get then greedy. We ask for even more. We say that we want even more. We want this earth, we want this soil to bring us even more wealth. So what do we do then? We then end up asking for those things that are going to actually bring us suffering. What does that mean? So Sangat ji, we look at what's happened to the Dharti of Punjab. Punjab, Sangat ji, is said now, an article that was written in 2019 by The Guardian, it said that Punjab, the state of Punjab, out of all the states within India, has the highest amount of cancers. Sangat ji, how does that relate to this hukamnaama? Because Daan Mat Pura, Vaheguru Ji has given us everything that we need within this world already. Be it the soil, that then it's about how we then use our intellect in utilizing that soil in the correct manner, so that we are actually nourished, and not so that we are ruined, but we end up getting caught up in greed and asking for more. But is saying hum thare pe khar, we're beggars before you. But when we get caught up in that greed, in one of the panch chores, in one of those 5 that loot us, then what happens? Then we want that soil to bring us even more. So what do we start doing? We start doing such things. We start asking for such things that we want more. So we use certain fertilizers. But we use why is there so much cancer in Punjab, Sangat ji? Like they say that the national figure of India, I'm just using India as an example over here, but this can be then taken into other places as well. So the national figure is, they say, to every 100,000 people population within India, the rate is about 80 people have got some form of cancer. But within Punjab, they say that number is about 90. Why? Because it's Punjab that uses the most fertilizers. And this came about during the Green Revolution in the 70s. And so much fertilizer was used, then pesticides were used. And they were using pesticides. Why? Because they had fear that they don't want their crops to be eaten, and they want more profit. They want their land to bring them more profit. So they get caught up in this whole... Vaheguru Ji has given us the perfect gift of soil, but then it's about how we utilize that gift. It's how we utilize that gift, and then we start asking for things that are actually impermanent, Guru Sahib Ji saying. And then what happens is then those pesticides, they say, that are so toxic, some of them are actually banned in European countries. But they're being used in Punjab, which are causing all these issues and problems. And those fertilizers that are not safe are getting into the waters of Punjab and then what's happening? It's ruining people's health. That very thing that was supposed to be helping us and nurturing us. And that's why people that are wealthy, people that have got access to other means of food, they will actually avoid that food. The farmers themselves will actually start avoiding that food because they know exactly what's gone into it. So what happens is we get caught up in greed, and then we end up asking for things more than what we actually require. And we're asking for, we're saying to Vaheguru Ji, look, that I want more, I want this, I want that. But then by those things, the extras that we want and our own desires, they are the very things that are bringing us to ruin, because then we end up, everything becomes about how something tastes to this tongue. And then we end up doing such things that actually ruin our bodies. So Padshah Ji is saying that instead of that, they say, "Main kya mango kich thir na rahai, har dije naam pyari jiyo," but give me that naam. That naam that is pyari. Pyari meaning that naam that is so. That naam is what is truly loving to me, that actually gives me love. When I connect to that one. When I connect to that one, when I connect to Vaheguru Ji, then I will know exactly how to use the soil, the gifts that you have given me. Then I will be more aware, and I will know exactly how to look after this air that you have given us. Pavan Guru, Pani Pita, Mata Tart Mahat. Then I will truly, let's look at this a little bit. Pavan Guru, Pani Pita, Mata Tart. Then I will truly treat this Pavan, this air, like a disciple treats their Guru. A disciple falls at the feet of their Guru. A disciple, Sangat Ji, they will wash the feet of their Guru. But Guru Sahib Ji saying that Pavan Guru, that treat this air like your Guru. How are we treating this air? Are we polluting it because of our own comforts in the way we are living? Are we using our own facilities that we have in our homes? Are we using them in unawareness and using them more than even than we need to? Is the heating running in our homes more than they need to be running? Can we not just find other means? And yes, I'm not saying not to use these facilities, because yes, obviously they're used in all our households, including my own. But are we using them more than we need? Are we using them unconsciously? Can we start looking into other ways? Can we start looking into maybe having showers that are cooler, not having to heat up the water so much all the time? Are we able to maybe wear clothes that are slightly warmer, and we've got them anyway in our wardrobes? Not that I'm saying, because that would be the same thing of going out and buying more clothes. I'm not saying to do that as well. But I'm just here throwing out ideas. This isn't no perfect solution, but I'm just trying to, help each other open that awareness a little bit more. But what are we doing? How are we treating the air? Are we even conscious about these things? If we're not, then actually we're not living Gurbani. Then we're just reading Gurbani. Then it becomes that little ritual that we do in the mornings. But is it awakening us? Are we being more conscious into the way that we are treating our water? Into the amount of plastic that we use and bring into our households? Are we being more careful about all of these things? And if we are, Sangat, and this isn't a lecture, because this is awakening ourselves. That's what it means. Har dije naam pyari jiyo. That instead give me that naam, give me that connection to you, so I can actually appreciate you as being that giver that has given us everything that we need to live and survive. But how am I actually making use and utilizing these things? Am I actually bringing ruin to this beautiful soil that you have given us just because I have got caught up in greed, in wanting more and more. And now that I've used so much fertilizers, and then Sangaji, I was saying that some pesticides are even now, they are actually banned in Punjab too, but they're not banned in other states, so they're still coming into Punjab. So they're still being used. And then that is then going into, that's what people are consuming and eating. If you look at the air there now, it's when that once upon a time Punjab, I remember going there in early 80s and staying there in my village, in my bend, and you would wake up in the morning, go up on the kotha. Kotha, Sangadji, is like a open roof, and many village homes had this. And you would go out on the open roof and you would just breathe in the fresh air, and you'd look at the beautiful greenery, the clear skies, but it's all changing. And who is responsible of that? Not the giver, but this is us, the consumers, that are actually bringing ruin to the gifts that our Creator has actually blessed us and given us. That's why Badshaji is saying that we are actually asking for things that are impermanent comforts. They are a comfort for a small moment of time, and then we aren't still satisfied, and then we still want more. But instead, if we ask for that connection with Vaheguru Ji, and we start connecting to that one that is formless, that will actually bring us more awareness in how we are utilizing the gifts that are already here, instead of asking for more and more and more. Pavan Guru Pani Pita. That Pani, that are we conscious in the way we're even using this water? And how much we're actually utilizing it? Are we just letting the tap run, or how are we conscious about what is going into our seas, into the oceans? Maaf karna. Sangat ji, so Mata Tarta Mahata, this Tarti is the greatest mother of all. How are we treating this Tarti? Sangat ji, there's certain plastics that cannot actually, they can't decompost. It could take them up to 400-500 years. But we've become a society that now we can't even do without these things, because so many of even our cars, our planes that we are traveling in are made out of these plastics. But yes, but there are certain things we can start doing and thinking of, is maybe is not using one-use plastics anymore, something that is just used once and goes in the bin. If we have brought something that is plastic within our home, that if something's in a plastic package, try to maybe make more use of that. Making more use of that, Sangatji, in a way that you can maybe use it for your bin liners or whatever it is, so that they're not just used only once. Before, Sangatji, would be brown paper bags that we would see in shops, but now we don't see those anymore. Now everything just comes in plastic bags, and then maybe trying to find a way of using and using more cardboard boxes and using the loose fruits, picking out the loose fruits out of our supermarkets. And that then we, instead of just reading the Salok, how some read the Salok 3 times a day, but are we actually reading it? Because if we're not becoming conscious of our Tarti Ma, of this Mother Earth, of our Father the air, of our Guru our Guru the air, and our Father the water, if we're not actually utilizing them and treating them with compassion, then we've actually not read the Salok yet, even though we've read it 3 times a day. Sangatji, there's obviously many ways of looking at this. These pangatiyan, but this is just a way that I connected with it this morning, and I'm sure going through this Shabad again another day, I'll connect it to it in a completely different way. You've got to embrace the Guru's words and make them yours and contemplate them deeply and see how they're going to make a shift in your life, in the way you are thinking, responding, living. Kat kat rav rahya banwari, that one that we are all trying to connect to. Why Guru Sahib Ji is saying to us that one is kat kat, is in each and every heart, meaning is at the center of everything. Kat kat rav rahya banwari. Banwari is a beautiful name for God. Ban means the forest. Vari comes from the word mala, banamala. Mala means that one that wears a garland. The garland of the entire Banaspati, the entire forests and flowers. So it's another word for Vaheguru. So you could see like Vaheguru being the formless, and then this whole, where all the trees and the flowers and everything that you see in the plants that you see is a garland that Vaheguru Ji is wearing, that God is wearing. It's beautiful, the way Vaheguru Ji, the way Guru Sahib has used these words. These words are not new. These words were already used in older scriptures, the older Hindu scriptures. Sangaji Banamala was actually a word that was used for Vishnu Ji, the deity Vishnu, the one that sustains everything. But here it's referring to the ultimate, that one Vaheguru Ji. It's saying that one Vaheguru Ji is Kat Rav Rahya, is Rav, is immersed in everything. So then, if that one is immersed in everything, and we are then saying that we are on the path of God, we are religious, then how are we treating everything? The one, that everything that one exists in. Jal thal mehiyal gupto varta. Padshah Ji saying that jal, that water, thal, the earth, the soil, mehi al, mehi Sangat Ji, beautiful word, comes from the word Madhya. Madhya means in the center, and what that means is the other way of translating that is Mahi means Tarti, means the earth, and then the Al. Al means the space in between. The space in between meaning the space. So referring to the fifth element, or whichever way you want to refer to it as the first element, from being the most subtle element and building up in that way. So the elements actually started off from subtle, and then becoming more physical matter. And then Sangat Ji saying Jal Thal Mehiyal. So whether it be the water, whether it be the earth, whether it be space, Gupato Varta, that Vaheguru Ji is residing within it all, Gupto, secretly. Guru Shabadi Dekh Nihari Jiyo. But through the Guru's word, we were able to see that one within everything. Rahao, contemplate that. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachi is saying, Kende Mart Pyar Akash Dikhayo. Kende, that the Guru has the ability, what the Guru does for us is the Guru Mart shows us that one, that one is within Mart, within this world. Pyar, even in the other worlds. Even in the nether regions, wherever it may be, that the Guru shows us, that Akash, within the sky, the Kayo, the Guru shows us. Gur Satgur Kirpa Tari Jiyo. When the Guru places that grace within us, we start to see that one within everything. And then we are very conscious in the way we actually treat everything. So Brahma Ajoni hai, that one that is within everything is Ajoni, is beyond the cycle of birth and death. Happy, that one exists now, is true now. Honi, will always exist, will always remain. Even though this body will not remain. This whole entire world might not remain. The water within this world might not remain. The earth, the soul may not remain. The entire creation, all the multi-universes may not remain. But that one will always be there. Kat Peter dekh murari jiyo, Kat Peter, Vaheguru Ji, that Guru Sahib Ji saying Kat Peter, but within, at the core of all of existence, dekh, they're saying that look, there is Murari Jiyo, there is Vaheguru Ji. Murari is another word for God. Murari was actually a word used for Krishna Ji, but here it's referred to as of Vaheguru as God. Murari, Mur Sangadji means the demons. Ari means the enemy, meaning the one that is the destroyer of the demons, that greed that takes us to that place of ruining this soil, ruining that place of just of our own pleasures, of comforts, ruining the air with in the way we are polluting it. Dekh marari jiyo, Janam maran ko eho jag bapudo, saying that Paapji Ji saying Janam maran, Janam birth and death, maran ko eho jag bapudo. They're saying that this is beautiful the way Maharaj Ji has actually worded this eho jag bapudo. They're saying this poor world. Maharaj is saying this pachara world. This is what it's made for. It's made for what? It's made for janam maran, for dying and being born. Kande in duje bhagat visari di jiyo. And what happens to us in this world that is made for birth and death? But what happens to us in duje? We fall for duality. We get so caught up in this physical world, and we suffer in so much sorrow when we lose something. And Paapji is saying, but this poor world, that's what it's made for. It's made for birth and death. But you have fallen into duality. You have fallen in love with duality and not the actual essence, the truth that is behind that. And that you see that passes, that you are asking for, and you are begging for that is one day going to leave. And those things that you beg for, you have that expectation for those things to bring you happiness. Some people aren't able to have children. They beg and beg for children. Eventually they, in some form of way, somebody has a child. Whether it be natural birth, whether it be via whatever means, IVF or whatever that treatment is, or whether it be adoption. But when it comes with that expectation that this is it now, and then that brings somebody that's so much joy, because the joy is dependent on that coming to them. And then when that joy doesn't live up to their expectation, or if they lose that, if they get ill, if they die, or even if they just do something that isn't set within their own expectations of their own mind, then they experience sorrow. So, janam maran ko eho jag bapdo in duje, but with that duality we fall in love. But it was made in that way for it to just keep going, coming and going, coming and going. That's the makeup of this world. Bhagat visari jiyo, Paapji saying, and instead what we've done is we've forgotten. We've separated ourselves from the worship, from devotion, devoting ourselves to that one that is the giver and not just the gift. Instead, it was about appreciating and taking care of the gifts that Vaheguru Ji has blessed us with, without the influence of the 5 vices, and not getting attached to them, but instead is taking care of them, appreciating them. Appreciating something means that you look after it. But us as human beings have been the biggest cause of destroying this planet. Not the animals, but human beings have. Satguru mile taan gurmat paiye, sakat baji hari jiyo. But upon meeting that true Guru, the Guru of truth, Satguru Mehla, Tangur Mat Paiye. Then we receive the Guru's wisdom, and then what happens? Pathji saying, but those that are Sakt, those that are actually faithless, that don't give themselves to a Guru, what happens? Baji Hari Jiyo, they lose the game of life. Satgur Bandhan Tod Nirare Bohadna Garb Majari Jiyo. Satgur Bandhan Tod. What does the Guru do? The Guru takes these bondages that we are actually praying for and asking for, that there's different bondages that we are stuck in. Pathji say to us in Gurbani, they say Bandhan Mat Pita Sut Banata. For some of us, the bondage, this imprisonment has become the attachment to Mat, to our mother, Pita, to our father, Sut, to our children, Banita, to our partners. That's become that bondage. We've got stuck in the Maya. We've fallen in love with the duality, with the Duja, with the Maya that one, the actual formless has created. The one that is secretly behind all of this, like Pathji has put it in this Shabad. But the Guru cuts that away for us. Satgur Bandhan Tod breaks that bondage. Nirare, and Nirare means sets us free. Bahurna Garba Majari Jiyo. Then we don't have to go into that cycle of being within the Garba, within the womb. Majari, within. Majari means within the womb again. That doesn't mean that you necessarily don't come back into this world. A physical body will still come back through a womb. But if you have realized your true self, then you are still free, even if you come back through a womb. What Pathji means here, being in a womb, means when you haven't yet realized yourself. Nanak Gyan Ratan Pragasya. And through that Guru that breaks those bondages for us, Kande Nanak Gyan Ratan Pragasya, that Ratan, the jewel of Gyan, of realization, comes forth. We're enlightened with that realization of what we are through the Guru, breaking those bondages of attachments to this duality, to this Maya. Harman Vasya Nirankari Jiyo. And then our minds, Man, Vasya, are constantly residing with Nirankari, that formless, beyond this physical matter. So Sangat Ji, Sadguru Ji Pathji Kirpa Karan. My ardas for myself and Sangat Ji, and if it fits, if it's in line with your heart, then you can embrace this ardas too. Is that the gifts that you have given is to realize the giver behind these gifts, and it's how are we treating your gifts. And if I keep asking for more of these physical gifts, is realizing that they are all unstable and they are all changing. They're not constant. They're not going to remain here forever. But instead, I ask to be connected to you. And when I connect to you, then I actually live in gratitude for your gifts, for the soil, for the earth, for the air, for the water, the fire, the Agni, everything you have blessed us with. And we use them more consciously. So Sangat Ji, please forgive me for all my mistakes. Sadhguru Ji Garib Nawaz Sache Paatshah Ji Kirpa Karan. May they bless us to have that realization, so we can break away, Sangat Ji, from that cycle of birth and death. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa